You have started sleeping around? I wish you were never born. You are a very useless Mabel. At first you said music. Now it's a rape case. Why did you choose to bring shame to this family? I don't want to ever set my eyes on you again. You're just a girl child. You're not that important. Now, pack your things and leave my house, you evil child. I don't want to ever set my eyes on you again. She was 18 years old, tall and slim, with skin that glowed like polished ebony. Her eyes sparkled with a brightness that made people want to look twice. And when she smiled, it was as if the whole room lit up. But her greatest gift was not her beauty. It was her voice. Whenever Mabel sang, it was as if the world paused. People said her voice was like honey, smooth and sweet, flowing into the heart and melting away sorrow. Some even said her songs could make a crying baby sleep or a sad man smile again. But there was one problem. Her father, Mr. Johnson, did not believe in singing. Mr. Johnson was a schoolteacher. He was tall and serious and always wore glasses that made him look sterner. He believed only in books, exams, and certificates. To him, anything outside education was a waste of time. Singing will not feed you, he often said. Dancing will not pay your fees. All these things are distractions. The only way to succeed is through school. Because of this belief, he had no patience for Mabel's music. Whenever he heard her humming or writing songs, his face tightened in anger. That morning, while the town was waking up, Mabel was writing in her notebook. She had been working on a new song since the previous night. Her voice came out softly, like a whisper, as she tested the lines. She was so lost in her music that she didn't notice her father's heavy footsteps approaching her room. "Mabel!" His voice boomed, startling her. Her pen froze in her hand, her heart racing. "Yes, Papa," she whispered. "What is that noise again?" he barked. Mabel quickly closed her notebook, hiding it under her pillow. "I'm sorry, Papa. I was just..." But before she could finish, he pushed the door open. His eyes blazed as he looked at her. "Didn't I warn you? How many times must I repeat myself? Singing will not put food on your table. Singing will not pay your school fees. Must you keep disgracing me?" Mabel's hands trembled. She lowered her head, unable to look at him. "Papa, I only wanted to write a song. It makes me happy," she said softly. "Happy?" He scoffed, his lips curling. "Happy does not pay rent. Happy does not pass exams. Happy will not buy you clothes. You are a useless girl wasting your time on rubbish. Look at other children. They are reading their books, preparing for their future. And you? You are opening your mouth and singing like a bird without sense." Tears pricked her eyes. Deep down, she wanted to shout, "Papa, this is my dream. This is my gift. Why won't you see it?" But she swallowed the words. She knew that the more she tried to explain, the angrier he would become. Her mother, Mama Mabel, appeared at the door. She was a kind, soft-spoken woman who always tried to protect her daughter from her husband's harshness. She gently placed her hand on her husband's shoulder. "Husband, please," she pleaded. "Let her be. Singing is not a crime." "Keep quiet, woman," Mr. Johnson snapped, shrugging her hand off. "You are the one spoiling her. If she fails in life, don't blame me." With that, he stormed out of the room, leaving behind a heavy, painful silence. Mabel's tears rolled down her cheeks. She clutched her notebook tightly and whispered to herself, "One day, my songs will be heard. One day, Papa will see I'm not useless." Later that day, Mabel walked to school with her books pressed against her chest. She tried to shake off the morning's events, but her father's words still echoed in her mind. Useless girl, bird without sense. At school, things were different. Her classmates adored her voice. During lunch breaks, they often begged her to sing. "Mabel, sing that song you sang last time," one girl would say. "Please, just one verse," another boy would plead. And when she opened her mouth, the chatter in the classroom would fade, replaced by soft murmurs of admiration. "Her voice is like honey when whispered. She sings like an angel," another added. But while her friends clapped, Mabel's mind always drifted back to her father. She wished he could see what others saw. She wished he could be proud of her. One evening, after choir practice at church, Mabel began her long walk home. The path was lonely, and the streetlights along the way were dead. She held her bag tightly, her footsteps quickening as fear crept in. Suddenly, a figure stepped out of the shadows. It was a young man, no older than 20. His eyes roamed over her body with a hunger that made her chest tighten. "Fine girl," he sneered, blocking her way. "Where are you rushing to?" Mabel's heart pounded. She stepped back. "Please, leave me alone," she whispered, trying to pass. But before she could escape, his hand shot out and grabbed her arm. "Let me go!" she cried, struggling. Her screams pierced the night, but no one came. The road was empty, the house is far away. She fought, but he was stronger. In the darkness, under the silent sky, the man forced himself on her. When it was over, she lay on the ground, shaking like a leaf. Tears streamed down her face. Her dress was torn, her body aching, her spirit shattered. She felt dirty. She felt broken. When she finally staggered home, her clothes were disheveled, and her eyes were swollen from crying. The moment she saw her mother, she collapsed into her arms. "Mama," she sobbed. "Mama, he hurt me." Her mother's heart raced. "Who? My child? What happened?" "He forced me," Mabel whispered, trembling. "Mama, I swear, I didn't want it. He forced me." Before her mother could respond, her father walked in. "What is going on here?" he demanded. Mabel knelt before him, shaking. "Papa, I was assaulted." "I didn't." "Liar," he roared, slapping her across the face. The sound echoed through the house. "Shameless girl. Who will force himself on you? Are you that important? You've started moving with boys, and now you bring shame to my house." "Papa, no, I didn't." "Shut up," he thundered. "You are a disgrace. You have never made me happy as a father for once." Her mother wept quietly, her hands trembling. "Husband, please, she is our daughter." "Keep quiet, woman," he snapped. "If you support her, you're as foolish as she is." Weeks later, Mabel began to feel weak. She vomited often, her body refusing food. Worried, her mother took her to a small clinic. When the nurse returned with the test results, her face was heavy. "She is pregnant," the nurse said softly. Mabel's world collapsed. She stared at the floor, numb, as tears rolled down her cheeks. At home, when her father heard the news, his fury shook the walls. "So it is true," he shouted. "You have carried a bastard in my house?" "Foolish girl." Mabel knelt, sobbing. "Papa, it wasn't my fault. Please, believe me." But he spat on the ground. "Pack your things. From today, you are no daughter of mine. Leave this house before I kill you with my own hands." "Papa, please." "Out!" he roared. Her mother tried to hold her back, but fear sealed her lips. And so, under the night, with nothing but a small bag, Mabel was thrown out of her father's house. And that was how her life changed overnight. The streets were cruel. Mabel slept under shop verandas using her bag as a pillow. Some nights she went hungry. Other nights she begged for scraps of food. Market women gossiped when they saw her swollen belly. "See the small girl," one said, "already pregnant. Shameless." Children pointed and laughed. "Mama says she's a bad girl." But even in the middle of rejection, Mabel never stopped singing. She would sit in a corner, humming softly. Sometimes people passing by would pause. Some smiled, others shook their heads. But for her, music was her lifeline. One woman once handed her bread. "Your voice is sweet, my child. Don't stop singing." It was music that kept her alive. The night was cold, the kind of cold that made your bones feel empty. Mabel sat by the side of the road, hugging her knees tightly against her chest. Her dress was torn, her hair tangled, and her eyes were swollen from crying. She had not eaten all day, and her stomach growled like an angry animal inside her. For days, she had been moving from one corner of the street to another, searching for a place to rest, but everywhere seemed full of rejection. Shopkeepers chased her away. Women at the market hissed and called her shameless girl. Sometimes, children threw stones at her, laughing at her dirty clothes. That night, she whispered to herself, "Maybe Papa was right. Maybe I am useless." But deep down, she remembered her songs. Whenever she sang to herself, she felt alive again. Quietly, with her face pressed against her knees, she began humming a soft tune, one of the church songs she loved. Her voice trembled at first, but slowly, The melody became clearer. At that very moment, a woman was walking home from her small food shop nearby. Her name was Auntie Joy. She was carrying a tray of leftover bread and a cara, her wrapper tied tightly around her waist. She was tired from the long day, but when she heard that faint singing voice cutting through the night air, she stopped. She turned her head and saw a thin girl sitting by the road. The girl looked broken, but her voice was like a candle burning in the darkness. Auntie Joy stepped closer and asked softly, "My daughter, are you the one singing?" Mabel quickly wiped her tears and nodded shyly. She expected the woman to insult her too, so she lowered her head. But Auntie Joy's eyes were filled with concern. "Why are you here all alone at this hour? Where is your family?" At the mention of family, Mabel burst into fresh tears. "They don't want me. Papa chased me out. He said I am a disgrace." Auntie Joy's heart tightened. She looked at the young girl, barely 18, with her belly beginning to show. It was clear she was pregnant. People in the neighborhood had whispered about a girl who got into trouble and was thrown out by her father. But Auntie Joy had never expected to meet her face to face. "Stand up, my child," Auntie Joy said gently. "Come with me. You cannot sleep on the street like this." Mabel hesitated. "But I have nowhere to go. Nobody wants me." "Then let me want you," Auntie Joy replied firmly. She reached out her hand. For a moment, Mabel stared at that hand. She had been ignored, insulted, and rejected so many times that kindness felt strange. Slowly, with shaky fingers, she took it. Auntie Joy helped her up, dusted off her dress, and guided her towards her home. Auntie Joy's house was small, a one-room apartment, with a tiny kitchen space and a mat on the floor. It wasn't much, but it was warm and safe. She gave Mabel water to wash her face, then offered her a plate of bread and a cara. At first, Mabel ate slowly, unsure if it was truly for her. But as soon as the taste hit her tongue, she devoured it hungrily. Tears of relief rolled down her cheeks as she whispered, "Thank you, Ma." Auntie Joy touched her shoulder gently. "Don't thank me, my daughter. Eat. Tomorrow will take care of itself." That night, for the first time in many weeks, Mabel slept under a roof. She lay on the mat while Auntie Joy used an old wrapper to cover her. The older woman watched her fall asleep, shaking her head sadly. What kind of father throws his child away like this? She thought. The days that followed were like fresh water to a thirsty plant. Auntie Joy cared for Mabel like she was her own daughter. She gave her clean clothes, taught her how to cook small meals, and even braided her hair. Whenever Mabel felt too weak to talk, Auntie Joy encouraged her. "You are not useless. You are carrying life inside you, and you have life inside your voice. One day, the world will hear you." But even with Auntie Joy's kindness, Mabel's heart was heavy. At night, when the compound grew quiet, she would sit outside, holding her stomach, and sing to her unborn baby. "Little one," she whispered, "they hate me, but I will love you. They rejected me, but I will never reject you." Sometimes Auntie Joy overheard and wiped her own tears. She too had once been rejected in her younger days. Maybe that was why she could not walk past the girl on the street that night. Months rolled by, and Mabel's pregnancy grew. Some neighbors mocked her, whispering that Auntie Joy was wasting her time on a spoiled girl, but Auntie Joy always defended her. "Don't judge her. Life is hard enough already. She deserves love too." Mabel drew strength from those words. She began to smile again, laugh again, and even sing louder. Auntie Joy would often sit and listen, clapping along. See how sweet your voice is. God truly gave you a gift, my daughter." But then, one rainy evening, everything changed. Mabel screamed in pain as she clutched her stomach. The baby was coming earlier than expected. Auntie Joy rushed to her side, panic in her eyes. "Hold on, my daughter. Breathe. Just breathe." They tried everything, but the labor was too difficult. Hours later, the baby did not survive. Mabel's cries shook the walls of the little room. "No! God, why? Why take my only hope?" She wept bitterly, clutching the empty wrapper where her baby should have been. Auntie Joy held her tightly, rocking her like a child. "Cry, my daughter, cry. But remember, you are still alive. God still has a plan for you." For days, Mabel refused to eat or sing. She felt empty, like the world had stolen everything from her. But Auntie Joy never left her side. She cooked, cleaned, prayed, and whispered encouragement. Slowly, little by little, Mabel began to heal. One morning, Auntie Joy sat beside her and said, "Mabel, your pain is real, but so is your gift. Don't bury your voice. Let it heal you." Mabel wiped her tears. "But who will listen to me now? I have nothing left." "You have everything," Auntie Joy said firmly. "You have life. You have a story. And when you sing, the world will feel it." That night, Mabel tried again. She sang softly at first, but soon her voice filled the room. Auntie Joy clapped, tears in her eyes. From that day, music became Mabel's medicine. The morning was bright, the kind of morning where the sun seemed to smile down on the world. Birds chirped loudly in the mango tree behind Auntie Joy's house, their songs rising and falling like they were holding a small concert of their own. Mabel stood by the window, watching them flutter about. She felt something move in her heart. For the first time in years, she didn't feel like a complete failure. Life with Auntie Joy had been far from easy. Money was still tight, and there were days when they barely had enough food to eat, but Mabel was learning that love mattered more than plenty. Auntie Joy's gentle encouragements were like medicine to her wounded soul. One Sunday morning, after the choir had finished singing at church, a man walked up to Mabel. He was tall, with a wide smile and a small camera hanging around his neck. "My sister," he said warmly, "that voice you have is not ordinary. Do you know that?" Mabel lowered her head shyly. "Thank you, sir." "No, don't just thank me," he insisted. "That voice is a gift. The world needs to hear it." He introduced himself as Mr. David, a young videographer who recorded events. That same evening, he uploaded a clip of Mabel's performance on social media with the caption, "This angelic voice deserves to be heard." Within days, the video exploded. People commented, "Who is this girl? Her voice touched my soul. Please, someone sign her already." I cried listening to this. God bless her. Mabel had no phone of her own, but Auntie Joy's small technophone buzzed nonstop with calls and messages. At first, Mabel was scared. She wasn't used to attention, but Auntie Joy smiled and told her, "My daughter, God is opening doors for you. Don't be afraid. Just walk through them." 1 week later, a big surprise came. A letter arrived from the organizers of a national singing competition called Voices of Tomorrow. They had seen the viral video and wanted her to audition. Mabel's hands shook as she read the letter. "Me? Competition? Auntie, I can't do it. I don't belong there. Those people are from rich families. They dress fine. They speak good English. I will disgrace myself." Auntie Joy held her face tenderly. "Mabel, stop saying that. You have already survived shame. You have carried pain and still stood tall. That is a strength. If the world is calling you, then answer." Tears rolled down Mabel's cheeks. She remembered her father's harsh words echoing in her head, "Useless girl. You'll never amount to anything." She clenched her fists. Maybe this is my chance to prove him wrong. The day of the audition arrived. Auntie Joy wrapped some foodstuffs in a nylon bag and gave them to Mabel. They borrowed transport money from a neighbor, and Mabel set off for the city with shaky legs but a determined heart. The bus ride was long. The smell of the car engine and roasted groundnuts filled the air. As they passed villages, Mabel's heart raced. She whispered prayers quietly. "God, please don't let me fail." When they reached the big city, the noise hit her like a wave. Cars honked endlessly, people rushed everywhere, and billboards towered over her head. For a girl who had grown up in a small town, it felt like another world entirely. The audition hall was packed. Hundreds of young men and women were there, some dressed in glittering clothes, others with makeup that shone like stars. Mabel looked at her simple gown, a gift from Auntie Joy, and almost turned back. But she remembered Auntie Joy's words. "You are enough," she whispered to herself. "I have come too far to give up." When her number was called, Mabel stepped onto the stage. Bright lights blinded her. The judges sat behind a long table, looking serious. "What will you be singing?" one asked. Her throat went dry. I will sing a gospel song I wrote myself," she whispered. The judges nodded. She closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and began. The first note floated out, shaky at first, then stronger, then soaring. Her voice filled the hall like a wave of fresh air. Even the noisy crowd outside quieted down. By the time she reached the last line, the room was silent in that heavy, holy way when everyone is holding their breath. Then the applause came. Loud, thunderous. Some even stood up clapping. One of the judges leaned forward. "Young lady, what is your name again?" "Mabel," she said softly. "Well, Mabel," the judge smiled, "you are not just good, you are unforgettable." Tears rolled down her cheeks. She made it to the next round, but the road was not easy. Each round of the competition demanded more practice, more stage confidence, more money. She had none of those things. Sometimes she walked long distances because she couldn't afford transport. Some contestants mocked her. "Look at this village girl. Do you think this is your church choir?" Their words cut deep, but she remembered her father's rejection and refused to give up. Each night, she called Auntie Joy with borrowed phones. Auntie Joy always prayed with her, telling her, "My daughter, the stone the builders rejected will become the cornerstone." Those words carried her through. Months passed. Finally, the grand finale arrived. Millions of people across the country were watching on television. Backstage, Mabel trembled. Other contestants were confident, laughing, and posing for cameras. She sat quietly in a corner, clutching her small Bible. When it was her turn, she walked onto the massive stage. The lights were blinding, the crowd enormous. She felt like running, but then she remembered the girl who had once been thrown out of her father's house. The girl who had slept on the streets, mocked and hungry. The girl who had lost a child. She lifted her chin. That girl is still standing. That girl deserves to sing. She began her song. It wasn't just singing, it was storytelling. Her voice carried her pain, her survival, her faith, her hope. It was raw, emotional, unpolished, but real. Halfway through, people began wiping their eyes. By the end, the entire stadium was on its feet. The judges were clapping. The host's voice cracked with emotion. When they announced the winner, time seemed to freeze. And the voices of tomorrow champion is Mabel. She fell to her knees, crying uncontrollably. Cameras flashed, confetti fell, and the crowd roared. She had done it. Auntie Joy rushed onto the stage, hugging her tightly. "I told you, my daughter. I told you." She was surprised to see Auntie Joy in the city, though. She hugged her and said, "I didn't know you would be present, Auntie Joy," as tears ran down her cheek. News spread like wildfire. The whole town where she grew up gathered around small televisions to watch her shine. Even her father, sitting alone in his room, watched. The same man who once called her useless now saw the entire nation celebrating her. He broke down in tears. For the first time in years, he realized what he had lost: not just a daughter, but her trust and love. "I should have listened to my daughter and protected her instead of maltreating her. I hope she forgives me," he said to himself. Days later, he came to the city to find her. He knelt before her, sobbing. "My daughter, forgive me. I was blind. I didn't see your worth. Please, forgive your father." Mabel wept too. "Papa, you broke me, but I forgive you, because if I hold on to the pain, I cannot heal." They embrace. From then on, Mabel's life transformed. She released songs that topped charts. She told her story on stages around the world. People who once mocked her now admired her. But through it all, she never forgot the nights of hunger, the shame of rejection, or the kindness of Auntie Joy. She built a music foundation to help young girls like her, girls who had been silenced, abandoned, or broken. And everywhere she sang, her message was clear: you are not useless. You are enough. Your pain can become your power. The end. Lesson learned. No matter how people reject you, your destiny is still in God's hands. Pain can break you, but it can also push you to rise. Mabel's story shows us that rejection is not the end. It can be the beginning of greatness. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe for more stories. Stay blessed.